Same thing with Marchie. Marchie wanted to give it a try today, and he didn't feel, he had a little bit of soreness, so I said, get off the ice. And we knew it was gonna be a hard practice, so we were very cautious. Even like Rizzy's a little sore, so he didn't partake in the scrimmage portion of it. It's just precautionary. And then the reason I wanted to have a hard practice with some scrimmage involved is, we're looking at Foligno and Forward. We want to see where their conditioning at game speed is and how they react to that live, and then how their bodies adjust tomorrow.
In Allmark, how does he feel?
Yeah, we don't have any issues with him. He was out there in practice, and I thought he performed well.
Still the game one starter?
Like goalie Bob, make a decision. I'll let you know on Monday.
Not many losses this season for your team, but a couple of them to the Florida Panthers. Looking back, was that more your team not executing with what you wanted, or Florida just outplaying you guys when you look back at tape?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty tight, look at the 4 games, it was a real tight series. Every game was tight. They're a good hockey team, They were in our shoes last year as President Trophy winners, and I think that since the All-Star break, I think the record is one of the top 6 teams in the league, and I think they're playing faster, and their transition offense is something that has been excellent for 3 years and continues to be so. And I think at times that has given us, some issues, like it has everybody in the league when you have dynamic players like they have.
How did Foligno and Forward look to you at that pace?
I thought Foligno looked really good. I thought there was a little rustiness on Forward.
With Florida, a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, what is the key to maybe slowing him down? He's been on a tear these last 2.5 months, it feels like.
Well, he's their Brad Marchand, right? He's their emotional leader. He's a tremendous competitor with a high hockey IQ. He's not someone you're gonna deter. You just gotta defend him well and make sure you're aware of him when he's on the ice. Same thing with Barkov. Like, they're a different player, but Barkov's an elite two-way center in this league. And those are 2 players we have to be aware of when they're on the ice. We can't give them second chance opportunities because they'll make you pay.
I know you said that Bergeron is precautionary. How healthy would you say your team is entering the playoffs?
We're happy with our health right now. Considering a long year, and we have some forwards that are old. Our decor is relatively young and really good. But we have some forwards. That's why we took the cautionary with us having a couple of days rest here, not to give 37. I didn't want 60, so I've got 63 out there. So I'm glad he got off.
Is the upper body injury that forced him to leave or precautionary reasons the other night, is that something new that developed, or something? You've mentioned him having some nagging injuries he's had to deal with. Is that one of those nagging things?
Yeah, it is. It's something that he's dealt with before. He knows how to deal with it.
Okay. How's it feel to be practicing for the playoffs now, finally?
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, this is the best time of year, when you get ready for playoffs. I love going against the same team. You really, as a coach, it's where you do a lot of adjustments, but just simple adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where you try and get your players to elevate their game and believe what they can do on the ice is going to make a difference.
What you see with Florida and how they attack off the rush, is it just pure speed feeding players to the outside? Do they confuse, with their routes and how they, attack in the neutral zone?
Yeah, I think they confuse mostly with their routes, and you combine that with elite speed and hockey IQ. They got a lot of players. Like Duclair is very dangerous on the 3rd line. Lomberg, everyone thinks, I think of Lomberg as a agitator, but like this guy makes a lot of plays. He has 12 goals, and again, elite speed. So they got speed. They confuse you with their routes. They run a lot of, I call them X plays, where they're crossing and someone's slashing in behind. So that's why they're a gifted offensive team.
I don't know that you've seen a lot of Duclair this season. Obviously, he's an established player in the league, but what does he do with their lineup as far as the balance and the different challenges that he offers?
Yeah, he adds the scoring depth that are, he's on the 3rd line right now. So you got a guy that scored as many goals as he has in the last 3 years on your 3rd line. It just, it's like us. We got Taylor Hall and Charlie Coyle, and Frederick had 17 goals this year on our 3rd line. Like, it's hard to match up, and that gives them more depth in their line.
For years, we've seen Aaron Ekblad help drive their offense from the blue line. What do you see from Brandon Montour? Obviously, he's had a big season offensively.
Yeah, Brandon Montour is an elite skater and a very, very competitive player that he's so active because he's such a gifted skater that you gotta make sure you're aware of him as like a forward, not a defenseman. Because how he jumps into the play consistently, his instincts are really good and he trusts his instincts. He keeps a lot of plays alive in the offensive zone. And he's someone with the minutes he plays, that we have to wear on him, make him defend, and make him play down low.
I'm not trying to confuse you with Cody Bob here, but Alex Lyon in net for them. What's the initial read on him and how he's been able to kind of pull them along late in the year here?
Alex Lyon, I remember him from my first year in USHL. He played, I believe, in Omaha. My memory said I thought he was the best goalie in USHL that year. I know he went on to Yale, and he's won championships in the American League, and he's had a great 2-month run here. But Florida might be the biggest reason why they're in the playoffs. So there's a confident goalie that we're going to have to get in front of and make sure he's finding it hard to see the puck like he's been seeing it.
Is there an added challenge in terms of scouting for a goalie like Lyon who maybe doesn't have as much tape as a guy like Bobrovsky?
No, today's day and age, you can go and find American League tape. Goalie Bob and our video coaches are on it.
Your home record speaks for itself, but some of the more challenging games you've had here have come after pretty good breaks. The Seattle game, Washington game, the Edmonton game. Any reason for that? Any concern about that?
So you said Seattle,
Yeah.
Edmonton, and what else?
Washington came
Yeah.
after the All-Star break.
You're right, yeah. Well, yeah, you worry about being in a rhythm, right, in a lot of those, because almost every one of those, we gave 2 days off. And physiologically, giving 2 days off isn't good. But when you're trying to get through the regular season, and such a long year, it has the added potential how much it helps players recover and how good we feel for the length of the season, so that nagging injuries heal a little bit more with 2 days off. I don't think this is the same case. We only had 1 day off, and we had gone a day off, 3 days on, day off, and now we're gonna be 3 days on again. So that's our preferred way we go about things. We like to be 3 days, max 4 days on the ice in a row, day off, and get back on that same cycle. So we don't think there's gonna be any issue for us being rusty at all for the first period of game 1.
The last time you saw that January 28th game down there, the late goal, the overtime, quick strike, did that offer any kind of lesson, for either the players losing the lead, et cetera? Did it change your thinking at all? What's your reflection back on that and how that ended?
Yeah, I thought that game was a lot of back and forth, which I'm expecting in series here. And when I look at that game, it was the only game where we didn't close it out, and give credit to them, they made a play. But we know there's mistakes that we made. That game actually helped us get better to close out games.
Coach, we always see in the playoffs players come out of nowhere to make a name for themselves, unsung heroes, and kind of elevate their game. Who's a guy you could see doing that on your team?
Well, to be honest, the depth of our team allows us to have a lot of guys that are going to be in that situation. Whether that's a Trent Frederick, it's Foligno, Nosek, that entire fourth line, Cliffy, Brandon Carlo, guys that don't get a lot of recognition, who have made a lot of important plays to our success. Those are the guys that jump out at me right away, just because I would even put Taylor Hall in that category, even though, he's a former MVP. He hasn't played in a while, he's getting his legs back, and he's starting to feel real good about himself. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come up and score a lot of important goals for us here, not only in this series, but hopefully for the entire spring.
I would assume no extra black aces coming up until Providence is done. You have 2 extra forwards and an extra D. Is there any plan to bring them up?
No, we want Providence to have a lot of success, and right now, we don't see a need to bring up extra bodies because we're in a good situation health-wise.
Good, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.